Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm actually going to be doing a more serious video this time, believe it or not, and that's a video based on my dream matchups for 2025. So to clarify, these are matchups that I think are pretty likely to happen in 2025 that I want to see, or just, dream matchups that I think would be cool, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it. Obviously, all the matchups I'm going to list obviously have a high likelihood of being booked, or basically in the works. Like, I'm not going to do something completely unrealistic, like fucking Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou, because let's be real, that's not going to happen because of Dana. But without further ado, here's the list of fights I want to see in 2025. Starting off the list is a dream fight that I've kind of wanted to see for some time now, and that is a fight between Siral and Sergey Pavlovich. Now, I know Siral isn't too popular in the eyes of the fans after the whole Volkov robbery, but honestly, Gane is honestly one of my favorite fighters. I love his style, I love just the way he fights. Pavlovich as well is one of the most entertaining fighters on the roster, especially when he's up against minorities, just the way he beats the living shit out of them. You'd think he was a police officer the way he beats up some of these black dudes. On a serious note, it'd probably be the prime example of the skilled fighter versus the brawler, and to be honest, I think it's safe to assume that Gane would probably win, given that we've seen Pavlovich get absolutely picked apart by Volkov. And I know you're all going to say that, Gane should have lost to Volkov, which, yeah, I guess is true, but that was mainly because of the grappling. On the feet, things were still pretty competitive. Gane was getting the better of some exchanges, even in their first fight, whereas Pavlovich got absolutely picked apart by Volkov, and to be honest, he's always been kind of ploddy on the feet. He mainly does well against all these fat heavyweights. I mean, the same could be said about Gane, but Gane has also outstruck guys like Volkov and Francis, who are far more skilled than guys like Tai Tuivasa. But yeah, maybe if Pavlovich wins against Rosenstruck, which I think he will because, he's black, I think they should book this fight in 2025, maybe as a fight night headliner if they do go back to Paris, or maybe even on a pay-per-view. I think we finally should see this fight in 2025. Next on the list, we have a fight I've always been intrigued about ever since Pereira moved up to light heavyweight. That's Alex Pereira versus Big Ank, or Magomed Ankalaev. Now, when Pereira first moved up to light heavyweight, I was convinced that this was a nightmare matchup for him. I just thought the grappling of Ankalaev would be too much. But after seeing how Pereira has improved his grappling, and when I realized that Ankalaev's grappling really isn't that dominant, I kind of changed my opinion on this fight. Like, honestly, I'm under the opinion that Pereira will win, especially if Ankalaev strikes with him. Because on the feet, Ankalaev doesn't really have anything to offer that Pereira hasn't seen a million times before. Yeah, he's a southpaw, but Pereira's fought two southpaws in his last 3 fights and KO'd both of them. Even Adesanya was southpaw for a majority of both their fights, and even in kickboxing he's KO'd so many southpaws. So I don't get why you have retards like Kenny Okoye saying shit like Ankalaev is a better boxer than Pereira. Like, Kenny, no he's not. I swear, Kenny Okoye has some of the most retarded takes in MMA. Like, dude, just go back to KFC. Your MMA takes are absolutely horrible. But anyway, I think if Ankalaev mixes in the grappling, he has a very good chance to win this fight. But on the feet, outside that straight left, I really don't see anything that Ankalaev has to offer against Pereira. Even with the straight left, Ankalaev actually has a shorter reach than Roundtree, and Pereira was using that pullback right hand on Roundtree even earlier in the fight. I'm not saying that Pereira will absolutely destroy him like he did in the 4th round against Roundtree, but I still think Pereira's going to knock him out if he strikes with him, especially with those low kicks as well would be a problem for Ankalaev, given that he can't check low kicks, and Jan Blachowicz absolutely mangled that leg. Just on the feet, everywhere this fight goes, except maybe the clinch, I think Pereira will destroy him. But yeah, hopefully the UFC finally booked this fight in 2025. Like, they kind of have to now. Like, there's no one else for Pereira to beat. Next on the list, we have a fight that's kind of been talked about for the last year, but we've never got to see it happen, and that is Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jack Della Maddalena. This, in my opinion, has Fight of the Year written all over it. Either that, or it's going to be a quick finish. Like, either way, I think we're getting a 5-round war, or a first-round finish. Like, I don't think there's any in between. As far as who I think would win, I could see it going either way, but honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards Jack Della Maddalena, and I've kind of always felt that way, to be honest. Like, I could see it being like a Stipe Miocic versus Fabricio Verdum type fight for Jack Della Maddalena. I just think Shavkat's a bit too hittable on the feet. I think JDM's power, the way he mixes up to the head and to the body, could be a problem for Shavkat. However, at the same time, I think Shavkat's grappling could be a problem for JDM, as although JDM has good jiu-jitsu, he's good at getting back to his feet, he doesn't have the best takedown defense, and we've never really seen him go up against a guy who can take him down and really keep him there. But at the same time, Shavkat's wrestling, or at least offensively, or his takedowns, are kind of overrated, and he is kind of just a clinch merchant, which is where I also see another advantage for JDM. Overall, I just don't think he's that good on the feet compared to JDM. I think his kicks could be a bit of a problem, but other than that, I just think the boxing of JDM is too crisp. He's too powerful, too fast, he's better defensively. And I think a guy like JDM really just needs one exchange to change the whole fight, like we saw against Gilbert Burns or against Randy Brown, and I could see that being the case with Shavkat. He just needs one moment where he's got him up against the fence to really just let his hands go. But yeah, I really hope we see this fight in 2025, whether it's for a title, whether it's just a fight night main event, even a 3-rounder I'll take. But either way, I just really want to see this fight in 2025. It'd be sick if it was for a belt. Like, this would be the hardcore's ultimate fantasy matchup. Next on the list is a fight you've all probably been waiting for me to talk about, and I've talked about it a bunch already, and that's Jon Jones versus Tom Aspen. What the fuck are we waiting for? Hurry up and book this fight. Jones barely took any damage in the last fight. I mean, he literally beat up an old man, and Aspinall's been on the sidelines just waiting for this ducking bitch to hurry up and fight him. And yeah, I'm not going to waste my time talking about this too much because I've already talked about it enough on this channel. We all know what happens. Tom Aspinall is going to absolutely bitch Jon Jones. Jon Jones is officially going to become Tom Aspinall's slave. And like most slave owners, Tom Aspinall is going to absolutely abuse Jon Jones on the world stage. I think he knocks him out in the first round or the second. I just think he's too fast on the feet. I think his takedown defense will be good enough to avoid any grappling exchanges with Jones. I mean, if Jones maybe gets the back, maybe gets the mount, then yeah, it could be trouble for Tom, but I just think Aspinall's too big, too fast, too powerful, and he's well-rounded as well. And yeah, I just think he's going to absolutely slaughter Jones when they fight. Let's put it this way. Tom Aspinall's not an old man or a woman or a fat middleweight or Anthony Smith. But yeah, hurry up and fucking book this fight in 2025. I don't want to fucking wait till International Fight Week. Book it for the March card because we all know Ankalaev doesn't want to fight during Ramadan, so we can't do Pereira versus Ankalaev on that card. I mean, who else are they going to do on that card? We're not going to do DDP versus Hamzat. So yeah, hurry up and fucking book this fight, Dana. So after the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight happens, if it happens, when Tom Aspinall inevitably flatlines Jon Jones, I kind of want to see Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira next. Not because I think it's going to be a highly competitive fight, but I just think the build-up would be sick, and the walkouts and just everything leading up to it, and this fight would probably sell a fuck ton of pay-per-views as well. I mean, same if it was Jones, but either way, I just want to see Pereira at heavyweight fighting for a title. Like, imagine if Pereira somehow wins. Imagine if, as Tom Aspen was coming in for that darting 1-2, Pereira times that left hook just perfectly and puts him to sleep. I mean, I love Tom Aspinall, but let's be real, it would be sick to see Alex Pereira become the first 3-division champion. But as far as who wins, I kind of got to go with Tom Aspinall. I just think on the feet, it's pretty competitive, although I would give the edge to Pereira given his skills and accolades on the feet. But I just think once Aspinall takes him down, just the size, the skill, and the strength of him would be too much for Pereira on the ground. I think he folds him up inside one round like he did to Volkov, or even like he did to Andrei Arlovski at the beginning of the second round. I think that's what happens if Pereira fights Aspinall. Just honestly, as long as we don't see Pereira get flatlined, I'm perfectly fine with it. But yeah, I just really want to see this fight because, let's be real, the build-up to this would be hype. Another build-up which I think would be hype would be Ilia Topuria versus Diego Lopez, especially if they do this fight in Spain. Because honestly, I don't want to see the Volk rematch. Like, let's be real, Volk's pretty cooked in that fight if that happens. Volk's 36, about to turn 37, come on. He's not beating Ilia Topuria. But Diego Lopez is probably the only featherweight I could see who has a chance outside of maybe Movsar Evloev, mainly just because of his power, but I still think Ilia wins. I think Ilia's too well-rounded, his boxing's too good, he's got really great wrestling, really great jiu-jitsu, so even if Diego decides to take it to the ground, I think Ilia can handle himself, maybe even get the better of Diego Lopez, we really don't know. But yeah, I just think on the feet, Diego Lopez's boxing's not that good. He's got great power, he's got great punches, but his overall boxing just isn't that good. I think Ilia Topuria can easily outbox him. But I do think the first round of this would be a firefight because Diego Lopez brings it every time. We might even see Topuria get dropped, potentially, if Diego is able to catch him. But yeah, honestly, I think Topuria can weather the early storm, maybe even catch him early, who knows. But yeah, I think book this fight in Spain for next year, and yeah, be done with it. This is probably the best fight you can make at featherweight right now. Next on the list, we have another Fight of the Year candidate, and that's Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Come on, who doesn't want to fucking see this fight? Even though I think Gaethje's kind of at the end of his career, I don't know if it will be the same after that Max KO. But even if he is half as good as what he was before then, this is going to be a sick fight. Dan Hooker's riding a crazy win streak right now. He's got a lot of momentum. He's probably one win away from a title fight. Not that I think that he beats Islam. But come on, this fight would just be pure violence. And honestly, I think Dan Hooker kind of gets it done at this point. I think Gaethje took a fuck ton of damage against Holloway. I don't think he's going to be the same. And I just think Hooker can catch him with a knee or something like that. Next on the list, we have a fight that no one really talks about, but it's a fight I've kind of wanted to see for ages, and that's Jack Della Maddalena versus Ian Garry. The main reason I want to see this is because I think JDM bounces Ian Garry's soy vegan head off the canvas. Not to mention, it would just be a sick striking battle between two of the best strikers in the division. I think JDM is obviously the better boxer. Not that Ian Garry has bad boxing. He's probably the second best boxer in the division. But I think Ian Garry is the better kickboxer. He's better at range. And I can see him causing problems for JDM, especially at range. We have seen JDM struggle at times to kind of breach the range of longer opponents, like against Kevin Holland or against Randy Brown, until he was able to find the shot against Randy Brown. So I could see a similar case here with Ian Garry. But I think sooner or later, JDM's going to be able to find his distance, and he's going to be able to tee off against Ian Garry up against the fence, and he'll put him out. But yeah, honestly, I hope they book this fight as well. Whether it's for a title, whether it's just a title eliminator, co-main event, feature fight, whatever it is, I just want to see this fight in 2025. And of course, we have the fight that probably everyone wants to see, and that is Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Islam Makhachev. Now, I was going to put Islam versus Ilya on this list, but I kind of want to see Shavkat versus Islam a bit more, personally, just because I think it's such an intriguing matchup. But as far as I think who wins this, I am leaning towards Islam Makhachev. I think his grappling is a lot better than Shavkat's, especially his offensive wrestling. I think striking as well, he's a lot better, especially his boxing. Overall, I just think he's a bit more skilled than Shavkat. However, Shavkat does have a fuck ton of power, and if he connects on Islam, he will do damage, especially if he lands one of those spinning kicks on him. Even on the ground, Shavkat's great, so I could see him being able to cause some problems for Islam, even though I do think Islam's a lot better. It's also the fact that we've never seen Islam go against someone who's a lot bigger than he is, so that'll be interesting to see how he overcomes the size disadvantage. And not to mention, the build-up to this fight would just be fucking hype. Like, let's be real. Both of them just have so much aura right now, even though I have called Shavkat an aura merchant. But let's be real, this could also be fight of the year potential as well. If Shavkat beats Bilal and Islam beats Arman, I think you need to book this fight immediately. Maybe in Abu Dhabi, I'm not sure where, but just book this fight if both of them win their next fights. And of course, last but most certainly not least, the fight that everyone wants to see, the most highly anticipated fight of all time, the most competitive fight of all time, the most high-level fight of all time, the fight that should have been the main event for UFC 300, and that is Raquel Pennington versus Derrick Lewis. I mean, come on. Just the amount of aura, the amount of skill, the amount of technique, just, I don't know, the amount of excitement between these two fighters that they bring, it would just be an absolute hell of a fight. Now, as far as who I think would win, I think it would be a battle of attrition, a battle of skills, and just one of the closest fights of all time. But I am going to lean with Derrick Lewis. I don't know. I can see him being able to just maybe land that one punch that could just absolutely take Raquel Pennington out of there. Yeah, I think this would be the most highly competitive fight of all time. And I think we need to see this in... Oh god, I can't take this seriously. We need to see this fight in 2025 as the main event of the biggest card. But that is the list, you guys. But anyway, that is the video, you guys. Please like, please subscribe, and please join the Marlon Army. And I can see a lot of people have been doing that, which is good, because the more people that subscribe, the more videos I will bring out to you guys, and the more entertaining I will be as a YouTuber, and the more likely I am to be able to quit my fucking job that I hate. I promise you guys that I'm not like some of these other smaller YouTubers you see. Like MMA Joey, who's just a fat fucking slob with some of the worst takes I've ever seen. And he's just so fucking ugly. Like he's a soy version of Guru. I'm also not like those soy gaylords on Dodson's Corner who probably pay each other when they aren't making videos. And I'm not a dumbass Adesanya glazer like Kenya Koye, who has some of the worst takes in MMA. Like honestly, go back to robbing places, little bro. So yeah, keep subscribing, and I'll keep bringing you guys more quality content. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.